I might have, and you will have a mouthful, but this will be all in snippets. My question earlier was really about data, because unless we have data that we could use as our basis for child finding, then it's a little difficult to actually, at least at this stage, to actually have intervention programs that will actually address that with impact. Okay? And I say that because with respect to out-of-school children, I think we've identified in our last mile efforts at least 5 sectors initially. And that's street children, indigenous peoples, children with disabilities, children in conflict with the law, and children in areas of conflict. More recently, and this is a post-script, we have realized that a study like this will have to expand into out-of-school children outside the Philippines. So, for example, we've discovered that there are at least 6,000 of Filipino descent in Sabah that cannot enter into the Malaysian school system because they don't have the citizenship and the card, and the Philippines cannot establish a school there. Thankfully, we were able to partner with some NGOs to establish at least a center for Filipinos, and there are 2,000 of them currently enrolled. I think it's critical for us to actually keep pushing, and both government and NGOs and all other sectors, even faith-based groups, to actually do very active child finding. Some problems. For example, with disability, just the whole range of disabilities, which I know more recently, has actually expanded beyond the physical and what is visible, is actually problematic because that cannot have any basis for where we are in terms of responding to them. My hunch, I think many of those are, at least those are not just physically. Those that have other disabilities are actually enrolled in school, and I think they're the ones that actually drop out. So I think that's one segment of the study that we may have to pursue. Secondly, the 5 to 18 that whole age range will have to be the new, I would call it the new normal. And this is where I would ask the help of all groups. We'll have to change the mindset of Filipinos and say basic education is actually from 5 to 18 now. You can't just keep tracking up to 15 or 16. With the K-12 program, we'll have to work with the Statistics Office to ensure that this is traceable via the enrollment. Thirdly, on boy education, obviously that's one feature of Philippine education that sets us apart from many of the other educational systems. When the rest of the world talks about the challenge of girl education, in the Philippines it's the reverse. And obviously we'll have to do very serious study, especially because it's multi-factor, to be able to understand a little better. Pushing that to the extreme, the consequence of that will actually have an impact on violence against women. And in a macho culture, whenever you have the girl, the wife, being more qualified than the husband, which is true in many rural areas, but even in the cities, then the incidence of violence against women becomes a major factor. So we'll have to do it for the boys, yes, but we have to do it also for the girls. And a more serious study. I've had many position papers on that, but I'm a little cautious about coming up with a pronouncement about the program without a very serious study, precisely because it's multi-factor. And maybe some of the groups here would wish to just focus their study on this very important issue. Currently, number 4, the National Achievement Test is the only basis for DepEd to look into outcomes. It is problematic, okay, to say the least. One, it is done by DepEd, and because recently it has been used as a basis for incentive giving by the LGUs or by other groups, then you go into what other schools experience, you know, all of these rankings and the attendant pressure on the principals and the teachers to do very well, and to work on a curriculum that's focused on getting high scores in the testing. So the good news is we are reforming the achievement test only because we changed the curriculum. So necessarily we'll have to do a major revamp there, and hopefully part of the reform will also include not just testing, but also a way of reforming the school system itself. The other good news is we are happy to report that every school kid enrolled in DepEd has a unique ID now, using our learner reference number. In fact, it is the basis for what we will be proposing to Congress as our voucher system. And now, this school year, we're asking that all private schools also enroll in the learner reference number per student. That actually allows us to track students that drop out, do a profiling, as well as a check on whether they move from one school to the next. I think part of the challenge when you look at out-of-school youth is the fact that you're not only dealing with education. So all of the other issues you brought up, access, are the roads. And so Yusek Mario is into this project of pedals and paddles, distributing bicycles and boats so that schools become accessible. Or feeding, or even as simple as uniforms. Obviously, while that is those are critical elements in education, keeping them in school, obviously is something that DepEd cannot do alone. And that's something that we'll have to engage a lot of the other people in the community so that it becomes part of the community effort rather than just a DepEd issue. We are actually talking about dormitories also, because in fact the travel from school, especially in the far-flung areas. But that leads me to another major non-DepEd issue, which has always bugged me as I visit many of the far-flung schools. Is it possible that government and the local government now begin to seriously do planning on a local level, including and up to a zoning policy, so that local government now identifies areas where homes can be built and areas where there should not be any residents. It's only because when I go around, the quickest answer to the question, why are you in this far-flung place or island that has no government service, no power, no electricity, no government service at all? The answer is because at least here there's a livelihood. But believe you me, I've gone to those places, there is no livelihood. And if, in my mind, if someone in government or an NGO presents an option, I think the life of that family would have been better. The problem of DepEd is wherever there are families and homes, we'll have to provide access to education. That is expensive, but more than that, more than the expense, it is the inefficiency of the service. Whenever you have to, we have 8,000 multi-grade schools. If you're able to just cut that in half, the population of those multi-grade schools range from, if you talk about congested schools in the metropolis, you have less than 150 students from kinder to grade 6. And you can imagine the number of teachers that really are could be excess teachers if they were in a regular setting. But more than that, the real problem is in those far-flung areas, there is very little. Maybe the only government service that's there is really the school, and nothing more. And I've always asked myself, should government just allow families to build where they want without providing them with the basic requirement for a justifiable life? The good news in ARM, we have a lot of problems in ARM. The good news in ARM is the miracle over the past 3 years is a wonderful program from Bangladesh, what do you call this, BRAC model, where in areas that are in conflict areas where no qualified teacher can be sent because it will be a security threat on his or her life, and no one in the local community is qualified to be a teacher. The BRAC model, which has expanded into more than 200 schools now, has opened up a possibility that it is possible to create a school in a setting where you don't have qualified teachers. If you bring the whole community together, even if they are not well educated. And as you educate their children, it is possible also educate the mothers and the fathers at the same time. I think the BRAC model in ARM areas present a wonderful model for that type. And then finally, maybe the last major program of DepEd with almost all national agencies and local government is actually our Abot Alam program, with a major target of reaching 3 million Filipinos who have not finished high school. I'm happy to report that 1.9 million have actually been mapped. But we have expanded that to up to 30 years old. And the first province to have actually announced that they have mapped and enrolled every single one of those out of school is Batanes. And they have declared that they are the first province in the Philippines to have no out of school youth. In fact, I think even their cows have enrolled. Anyway, I thought that one of the more important aspects of this study, beyond just numbers, is really a common dream and effort for all of us. To tell ourselves, especially the Filipinos in the room, that it is possible to aim for a nation where there are no out of school. The Philippines, despite limited budget, can actually target in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years, that everyone is actually enrolled. Even those that are overage and have not finished high school. There is a program the government is pushing for. We only need corporations, families, to declare no one in this house is out of school. So if you have drivers, maids who are not in school, the only thing you need is to text DepEd. We will provide you with the bridge where you'll find where is the nearest school that offers the alternative learning system. I'm asking that all corporations do exactly the same thing. I hope one of these days, all of the Makati corporations will just say, no one is allowed to enter this building unless you're a high school graduate. But if you're not a high school graduate, we will provide you with all the support, including 1 hour a day for you inside the firm to actually do your ALS modules and the like. My sense is we're just almost there. And we just need one last push. And I hope that this study does not end up in a desk for academicians to just, well, nice, we'll go back to it, and next time I'll get a consultancy and do a second study. The only real fruit of this study, for me, is if every single one of you in this room leave the doors of this hall and say, there is no reason for me to meet another Filipino who has not finished high school, because there is a program for me to bring that Filipino to finish with a diploma in high school. And I leave that as my assignment for all of you. If you cannot do that, this study will need to be burned.